See you in hell, Liquid. That takes care of the cremation.
In a world of stealth and espionage, one game refined the art of sneaking. It's not just a game about sneaking around, it's a game about the thrill of the game, the suspense, the...
What I say, is this the kitchen? I'll get the kettle on then, shall I? Yes, lovely.
From pixelated punches to high definition headshots, and what have we got? Keith and his tea cosy. Gear up. Grab your brew or your controller and join us as we unravel the mystery and the magic of Metal Gear Solid, the Twin Snakes. Did you bring biscuits too?
Oh, I would never forget the biscuits. That would be uncivilized.
Welcome ladles and jelly spoons to Kohigh Mathy's YouTube channel and this month's 20th anniversary retrospective review. Today we're treading old ground and sneaking through a game that's more stealthy than a cat burglar trying to break into the orbital broadcast bunker. Metal Gear Solid, the Twin Snakes. Tim, I thought we'd done this one.
Tee up, as that Engage likes to say. Now, are we watching the telly or what?
Thanks for the brew, Keith, and no, Pat. We've already covered the original Metal Gear Solid when it's turned 20 way back in 2018. Link in the description, as always, down below. Metal Gear Solid is an action-adventure stealth video game produced by Konami Computer Entertainment Japan and released for the Sony PlayStation in 1998. Today we're delving into the GameCube remake, Metal Gear Solid, the Twin Snakes. Released for the GameCube, it is an action-adventure stealth game developed by Konami and Silicon Knights, with Konami handling its publication, serving as a remake to the 1998 PlayStation classic Metal Gear Solid. The remake boasts enhanced graphics and newly created cutscenes under the direction of Ryuhei Kitamura, and incorporates gameplay enhancements first seen in Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. It also features an updated translation and voiceover, retaining nearly all of the original English voice actors, contributing to its warmly received critical acclaim.
The game has one of the longest ever trailers. It runs for 26 minutes and 40 seconds, don't you know?
And would you look at that, Metal Gear Solid, the Twin Snakes appears in book 1001 video games you must play before you die, by Tony Mott, the fantastic editor of Edge magazine. In 2003, Nintendo of America revealed plans for the Twin Snakes, with development to be led by Silicon Knights under advisory of Hideo Kojima, the mind behind Metal Gear, and Shigeru Miyamoto, known for creating Mario. At the time, Kojima was engrossed in developing Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater and couldn't dedicate his full attention to the Twin Snakes. He recommended Silicon Knights for the project, praising their previous work to both Miyamoto and Nintendo's Satoru Iwata. Dennis Dyack, CEO of Silicon Knights, was enlisted to direct the project during a chance meeting in a Nintendo cafeteria in Japan, following his work on Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. While Silicon Knights took charge of games development, the cinematic direction was initially aligned with original Metal Gear Solid style. However, upon review, Kojima encouraged Ryuhei Kitamura to inject his signature action-packed style into cinematics. This direction led to some critique, particularly for overuse of bullet time effects, influenced by the contemporary success at Matrix.
He's beginning to believe.
The game's soundtrack were a collaborative effort. Steve Ennifin and the Silicon Knights music team composed part of the in-game music, whilst Konami's team, including Norihiko Ibino, who composed for Metal Gear Solid 2, handled the remainder, encompassing in-game menu and cinematic scores. Now, after defeating Sniper Wolf in the field, you can see a parachute that Liquid used to escape the Hind tangled in a tree. Now, unless you look at it directly, you will not trigger the Kodak conversation with Campbell.
Now, did you know the game has an awful lot of Easter eggs for fans of Nintendo, Konami and Silicon Knights, such as...
If you have an Eternal Darkness file on your memory card, Psycho Mantis will say something along the lines of, "You like adventure games, don't you? Do you like Silicon Knights games? Did you enjoy Eternal Darkness?" He'll also say something if you have Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, Super Smash Bros. Melee, or Super Mario Sunshine files on your memory card. There is a GameCube and Wavebird controller with GameCube setup screen on the TV in Ottocon's office. A Yoshi and Mario action figure can be found in the room where you fight the cyborg ninja for the first time. If you shoot them, you get a nice surprise.
Alexandra Rovis from Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem is the centerfold for the adult magazines that you can use to distract the grunts. And there's also an Eternal Darkness poster in one of the soldiers' lockers, don't you know?
The Silicon Knights website is on some of the computer screens in the game. In Psychomancer's room, the three pictures on the wall are Hideo Kojima, the creator of Metal Gear Solid, Ryuichi Kitamaru, the director of Twin Snakes, and Dennis Dyack, president of Silicon Knights. Honestly, can you imagine being called Dennis? The Twin Snakes gameplay underwent modifications to mirror the gameplay mechanics found in Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. Despite retaining the original game's environment and adversaries, fresh combat strategies were introduced for the player, including the capability to aim and shoot from a first-person perspective. Enhancements were also made to the enemy AI, enabling soldiers to interact more effectively with each other and detect the player with a heightened auditory and visual sense. Twin Snakes made its North American debut in March of 2004, although it were initially slated for a November 2003 release. The launch was deferred, affecting all versions, with the European version also experiencing a delay of several weeks. In Japan, the Twin Snakes launched on March 11th, accompanied by a distinctive Platinum package. This exclusive set featured the game, a Platinum GameCube console decorated with the Foxhound emblem, a 44-page memoriam booklet filled with production notes, sketches and photographs, and a special disc that included an emulated version of the original Metal Gear, don't you know? They've revamped the gameplay with first-person shooting mechanics. It's like giving the cyborg ninja a sniper rifle. Overkill, but oh so satisfying. Speaking of overkill, did anyone else feel like the voice acting were, a bit much? It's like everyone's sneaking around, but they're talking as though they're in a Shakespearean drama.
I did drama once, I forgot my lines. I just stood there. They said I was a natural.
Well, David Hayter's voice is really the only drama I need, but yeah, it is a bit like everyone else has decided to join an amateur theatre club.
Stay alert. He'll be through here. I know it. I'm going to swat down a couple of bothersome flies.
This is the first game this year where we get to look at the voice actors, and what a game to start with. The voice acting for Twin Snakes saw the original Metal Gear Solid cast return to the studio, with the exception of the cyborg ninja's role. David Hayter, who lent his voice to Solid Snake in English, successfully lobbied Konami. No, not this time. We're not having any of that. Konami Computer Entertainment Japan for the return of the original voice actors. According to Hayter in an interview, the motivation for re-recording stemmed from the GameCube's superior audio capabilities, which revealed background noises in the original recordings that weren't noticeable on the PlayStation. In the initial game, both Gray Fox and Donald Anderson were voiced by Greg Eagles, but in Twin Snakes, Eagles returns only as Anderson, with Paul Robinson taking over the voice of Gray Fox. This updated voice acting was also incorporated into Metal Gear Solid 4 for Snake's flashback, as the original game's voice recordings were not conducted in a soundproof environment. The Twin Snakes features Mei Ling, Natasha Romanenko and Naomi Hunter with North American accents, a departure from their respective Chinese, Ukrainian and British accents in the original. Differing from the original Metal Gear Solid, the Twin Snakes did not include Japanese voice tracks. The Japanese edition uses the English audio with subtitles instead, don't you know? Similar to the acclaim garnered by the original Metal Gear Solid, Twin Snakes also enjoyed favourable critiques, securing scores of 85.58% and 85 out of 100 from Game Rankings and Metacritic respectively. IGN awarded it 8.5 out of 10 and commended its enhanced graphics and cinematic quality. GameSpot rated it 8.2 out of 10, marking it as great, while Eurogamer gave it 8 out of 10 and Gaming Age assigned an A- rating. Game Informer praised the game with a 9.25 out of 10, highlighting its gameplay advancements, improved visuals and loyal adaptation of Metal Gear Solid narrative. Now in 2009, Game Informer ranked the Twin Snakes 11th on their top 25 GameCube games list, and the official Nintendo magazine placed it 80th in their top 100 best Nintendo games. However, not all feedback was entirely positive. GamePro pointed out issues with the game's performance, including a flagging frame rate and bouts of slowdown during intense on-screen action. The introduction of gameplay elements from Sons of Liberty was also criticised for feeling superfluous, particularly given the largely unchanged level design from the original Metal Gear Solid. GamePro argued this diminished the game's challenge and negatively impacted the experience of certain encounters, such as the battle with Revolver Ocelot. So, wrapping up, Twin Snakes is a unique blend of nostalgia and new age flair. It's like revisiting an old friend who's now into extreme sports and dramatic monologues. But fans of video games and retired thumbs like mine, it's a trip down memory lane with a few unexpected detours.
And there was tea, so I'm quite happy.
Thanks for joining us for this month's 20th anniversary retrospective review. Whether you're here for the games, the commentary, or just Keith's tea, we're glad you stopped by. Don't forget to hit that old like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and maybe send Keith some new tea bags.
Cheerio! Oh man, that's me.